Okay. So what Exodus is, and the reason, listen, Moses wrote Exodus. Moses was Egyptian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moses was an Egyptian for the first like 30 years of his life, or I don't know how old he was when he got booted, right? Or when he took off.
40. He took off at 40, and then he
40?
and he went back at 80 is when he started the Exodus.
No.
Yeah, bro. He was 80 years old when he started the Exodus.
Holy smokes.
I know.
Okay.
He lived so 40 years in Egypt and 40 years in
wilderness.
Well, yeah.
Whatever.
Then he got married and stuff like that.
Okay. So for all intensive purposes, Moses was Egyptian.
Gomer.
He was educated in Egypt. Remember, we talked about this with Mondo.
Mm-hmm.
It literally said he was raised up in all the ways of Egypt.
Right.
Okay. Knew their gods, knew their system. Moses did not know he was Hebrew. He was Egyptian.
No, I think he knew, though.
Here we go. Tell me what the amp says.
I think he...
What are you talking about?
He knew he was Hebrew.
He knew he was Hebrew while he was in Egypt, Pharaoh's household?
Because it was his mom that like weaned him and stuff, and like breastfed him. In the household of Pharaoh, she was around. He knew his brothers.
Nothing.
Bro, why would he then go to when his brothers were fighting out there and be and have remorse for his brother and have care for his kind, for his people?
He didn't.
It says that. Then remember, and then he tried to break up the fight. He's like, "Why are you guys fighting?" And then the next time he went out there, he saw the guy take advantage of his brother, and then he killed the guy. Why would he care so much if he didn't know he was part of them?
Cool story, but there's nothing in the Bible that says that he knew he was Hebrew. So you're just assuming,
dude.
Okay, you're reading into it.
I'm not reading into it. You're not. You're.
I'm not reading the words that I'm reading.
You're not reading it in context. You're looking at for a specific word. You can't do that, Ben. You know better,
bro. What are you talking about? I'm literally just reading the Bible. You're saying, why would he have stopped this? Why would he have? You're doing it. You're reading into it. I'm not. There's nothing in there that says that he knew he was Hebrew. There's nothing in there that says he had compassion on the Hebrew because he knew he was Hebrew. Nothing like that. You don't know why he stopped it.
I can't wait till another example comes up, and I'm gonna totally pin you on that because
what
you're gonna
be
another
example?
Because you're gonna say it one time. You're gonna be like, you're gonna do exactly what I'm doing right now. You're gonna read into it, because it's like common sense almost.
But I'll tell you. Oh, I'm reading into it. Okay, I'm not basing like.
Okay, well, so am I then. Then I'm reading into it too.
Oh,
because it's common sense.
I wouldn't say it's common sense.
It is common sense.
Let us know down in the comments if you think it's common sense.
This is a good conversation. I think that how could he have not known, dude?
Easy, because he didn't want to.
Was he not circumcised?
Absolutely not.
He wasn't circumcised?
You don't think that people in Egypt would have been like, dude, what's wrong with your dong?
They get. Oh wait, yeah, you're right. Because circumcision came later. Never mind. Yeah. Never mind. I'm sorry.
No. Circumcision didn't come later.
Oh no, you're right. Okay. Thank you.
He would have been circumcised like the Hebrews.
Okay, so he was circumcised because
while he's growing up in Egypt, naked at like the bathhouses, hooking up with chicks and stuff.
They all knew he was Hebrew, bro.
You're out of your mind. They would have killed him.
No, bro. No, why? They wouldn't have killed him. The Pharaoh's daughter
hated the Hebrews.
Pharaoh's daughter saved him, and she's like, he's mine. I'm going to protect him, bro. He was protected. Let me tell you why he was circumcised.
Oh my God!
When did she put him in the basket in the river?
Oh my God!
At what age?
I can't wait.
It was months later. After he was born. When did they get circumcised?
That's like smart.
On the 8th day. They get circumcised on the 8th day.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he have been circumcised?
Because they were killing babies.
But they saved their baby. Why wouldn't they? They would be like, forget it. We just weren't. Bro, if they were Hebrews and they were so on top of their religion, they would have circumcised him. Even if they would have killed him, they kept him for months. They kept him hidden.
How do you know they kept him for months?
The Bible says this.
Says what?
The Bible says that.
Only you would read like not be amped.
All right, I'm gonna get you.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm gonna get you.
Man. All this
there.
Because I was trying to get to the word of the day.
Oh yeah, can you go that while I'm looking at?
Freaking killed it. Hold on.
I'm looking at this.
Polemic.
The birth of Moses.
Yeah. You find that. So a strongly worded criticism, right, against something like an idea. What are you doing? What's going on?
I got it.
What you got?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I am. Go ahead.
Okay, Exodus 2, verse 2.
Okay, go ahead.
The woman conceived and bore a son, and when she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him 3 months. ESV, buddy.
Wait. Okay, go on.
So you're telling me that...
Go on.
And when she could hide her no longer, she took a basket of bulrushes, whatever, and daubed it with a bitumen and pitch. And she put the child and placed it among the reeds in the riverbank.
Hey, she hid him 3 months, right? Why did she hide him for 3 months?
Because they were killing kids. They were killing
so they were killing kids for 3 months.
They were killing kids for, I don't know how long.
Yeah. Well, hold on. She could no longer hide him after 3 months. They were killing kids for more than 3 months. She got rid of him because he was probably crying, making noise. She couldn't hide him anymore. Yeah. So they've been killing kids for 3 freaking months.
Right.
They might have been killing kids before 3 months.
Sure.
But she was still pregnant.
Sure.
Once she gave birth. So we don't know how long they were killing babies for.
Sure.
Okay. You're telling me she went to the temple or wherever they perform circumcision with the newborn baby boy who should be getting killed. You don't think there's like soldiers at the freaking temple being like,
why do they go
hey,
to
you
the temple?
Got a boy?
Why can't they come to their house?
Let me kill you.
They don't go to temple to do it. They can do it anywhere.
So you think that rabbis or whatever they were back in the day, because listen, there was no temple, let's be fair.
Yeah.
You think that rabbis or whatever they are were going to like...
Totally.
Hey, do you have a newborn baby in your house? Can I bite its anteater foreskin off real quick? Because that's how they used to circumcise. Yeah. Okay.
Totally.
Even though everybody else's babies are getting killed, can I just do this real quick?
Yeah.
Good luck to your child. I hope he doesn't die though.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because if the baby was going to be born 8 days later, if he can be circumcised, they're going to So you're thinking that since the baby was born, and you're saying to me that
they're killing babies.
Well, obviously Moses was born. And he lived 3 months, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he lived at least those 3 months. You're telling me that they would say no to circumcision when it's such an important thing in their belief system?
Yeah, I think they would have said no.
Why would they say no? Just because the kid might die anyway?
So that the kid's not like,
no,
my
dude,
anteater skin.
That
and then
makes
Pharaoh's
no
soldiers
sense to
come
me,
in
dude.
and are like, hey, is that a boy?
Bro, there's not soldiers like right there every single moment. They're
well, what do you talk? How do you know?
They're still passing down their traditions, aren't they? During that time, they're still teaching their kids and stuff.
But you don't think that they'll just like delay circumcision so that the child can have a better chance at living?
When was Moses circumcised?
Oh my God.
This is going to be...
polemic. Word of the day.
There's no clear reference to Moses circumcision.
Oh, weird. So are you reading into it again?
Bro, he was definitely circumcised.
Okay, Dennis, we'll wrap this part up. Listen.
All right, we'll wrap it up. But in the comments, if you guys...
Here it is. In the comments, let us know. Okay? Yeah. Let me just lay it out real quick, timeline here. Okay? So, Pharaoh passes an order saying, hey, too many slaves, right? They're going to overpower us. Let's kill all the firstborn of the Hebrews in the land of Goshen, right?
Right.
Firstborn, men? I think up to 2 years old.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay. I'm of the opinion that when Moses was born, his mother was too busy hiding him to care about circumcision, okay? And Dennis thinks that they would have adhered so strongly to the call for circumcision on the 8th day that she would have risked getting found out that she just had a baby boy just to get its anteater chopped, right?
Yep. She was risking every single day. She was risking every single day.
And when she could not anymore, you know what she did? Toss the baby in the freaking
3 months
river.
later. It wasn't like 10 days later.
Right.
It was 3 months. She had plenty of time to do circumcision.
I think she was just trying to keep the baby alive. But in the comments, let us know if you guys think it's reasonable or whose position is more reasonable.
Yeah.
Second of all, the other reason why I don't think he was circumcised was because, oh my God, they would have never let the daughter of Pharaoh take a Hebrew slave child that was supposed to be executed as a freaking pet. He was not second in command. He was one of the top dogs. Bro. Keep reading, where it talks about how far Moses ascended in the house of Pharaoh. There is no way they're letting a Hebrew slave ascend the house of Pharaoh. Absolutely no way. They were despised. They were killed. They were thrown away. Bro, they were killing their freaking kids up to 2 years old. And you're telling me they're going to be like, oh yeah, put this guy in command of everything. He's not going to betray us. Like,
he wasn't in command.
About? How high did he get into the household of Pharaoh?
I'm looking for it.
Plus, now. I just watched the 10 Commandments with Charleston Heston last week.
That's why you're all messed up.
No, bro, you read the Amped.
I love these conversations.
This is all because of the Amped.
They're so good. No, I'm reading the ESV right now.
Okay, yeah, keep going.
I can't find it.
Oh, maybe I made it up, but it doesn't matter.
No, because they do say that he was. I believe the answer to that question of like how was that even possible is because I think that the Lord had favor on him and he made their hearts to not want to kill him. Why didn't she want to just get rid of the baby right away? Why wouldn't she just why would she even take the baby?
Okay, listen, God doesn't have to like soften every single person's heart that knew Moses was Hebrew in order for him to survive. Okay, people could have just not known he was Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? And it takes way less miracles to do that.
I don't think that they can. I think that they knew he was Hebrew from a baby.
Okay.
3 months old.
Let us know down in the comments.
We're good.
What you think?
I love that we had that conversation. That was so good. How come I can't find that?
Error. That's how frustrating this is for me right now. I can't wait to get somebody that's smarter than both of us to come on here and be like, Dennis,
school us both.
Are you retarded?
No, he's gonna totally agree. He or she is gonna totally agree with me,
bro. It's never in my life crossed my mind that Moses was circumcised ever. You're the first person
I can't think of it a different way
ever to suggest that to me.
To me, it sounds ludicrous to think that he wasn't.
Wow,
that's how I feel.
Hey.
I'm going to do a deep dive into this.
You vaxxed?
No.
Bet you are.
No, I'm not.
I bet you are with mindset like that. Bet you are. That's the kind of perspectives, you're
hilarious, man. You're wild.
Okay. Anywho,
I love you.
Polemic.
Yes, let's go back to polemic.
That was strongly worded criticism, right? In writing against a opinion, perspective, whatever, right? So, Moses. Oh my God, Moses was Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
He had no idea he was Hebrew. We're back.
Mm-hmm. That's how we got here. Yeah.
Except for if you want to assume, like Dennis does, that he knew the whole time.
Why would
everybody around him knew. Everybody
why would he care
around
about
him
the Egyptians?
when they were bathing.
Why would he care?
When they were bathing.
Why would he leave?
And every single person in the bathhouse is like, dude, what's up with where's your foreskin?
They knew
He's like, oh no, I'm Hebrew.
He was untouchable.
Cool. You know the slaves? It's cool, I'm Hebrew.
Yeah,
don't worry
they're
about
slaves. They're okay.
When they go to perform like sexual rituals with prostitutes at temples and stuff, right? The prostitutes are like, I've never seen that before. He's like, I know, I'm Hebrew. You know the slaves? It's me. Don't worry about it though. It's cool. Check it out.
Because he is high up in Pharaoh's So who cares? He can do whatever he wants.
So okay. So unless you're like Dennis and assume that everybody around him knew he was Hebrew, and he did as well. Moses, for all intents and purposes, was Hebrew for 40 years. Okay, knew everything about the Egyptian. I'm sorry, he was Egyptian. Knew everything about the Egyptians, their gods, their sacrifices, their way of life. Everything. Rose up to top dog in Pharaoh's household, ran the show, ran slaves, did the whole thing. Okay, and then at 40, takes off and goes into the wilderness. God appears to him, shows himself miraculously, calls him for himself, tells him to go back and free the people. Right. So. Guess what? You know who else was pretty Egyptian, but not fully Egyptian? The Hebrews. The Hebrews that were enslaved.
Right.
What did they know about God up until that point? Think about it. Moses hasn't come to them, hasn't been like, I am sent me. They don't even know God's name. God first reveals his name, I am, Yahweh, to Moses.
Right.
Who came before Moses in the lineage, in the patriarchy of Christianity? Abraham, Isaac, Joseph.
Jacob. Yeah.
Or Jacob, Joseph.
And Joseph, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And before that, Noah, Adam.
Right.
Okay? That's the lineage. It's just 7 dudes, I think.
So, yeah, something like that.
Okay. That's 7. But none of them, like, received 10 commandments, the name of God, ways to worship him, details about him. All they knew is what did Abraham call God? He had a name for him, or he used a certain title for him.
Abraham?
Yeah. The God of our father. Okay, that's it. That's all it was up until then. It was the God of our fathers.
Right.
Okay. Right. That's all the Hebrews knew, and that they were chosen. That's all they knew. They didn't know anything else about God. But you know what they knew a lot about? Egypt, because they've been building that place for 400 years. They're right outside the gates. They know their cosmology. They know their gods as well. They know their rituals. They know their holidays. They know everything. They've been there for 400 freaking years. They know everything about Egypt. Okay? But they know that they have the God of their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right. You know what I'm saying? So when Moses writes Genesis to the Hebrews he just freed from Egypt, he's using a lot of Egyptian ideology, cultural references, divine references, and a polemic is criticizing those beliefs and those systems.
Okay.
So he'll use their ideology, the Egyptian ideology, which the Hebrews knew, and then he'll criticize it and point them to the one true God, the God of their fathers, who has now revealed himself as Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? Even the 10 plagues on Egypt, this is like a pretty widely accepted fact now, were polemics against individual gods of Egypt. Are you there or are you frozen?
Yeah. No, I'm here. Bro, I cannot wait to show you the truth about Moses. I cannot wait.
I can't wait for you to show me the truth that I expressed to you about Moses.
It's going to be so nice. You're going to be like, Dennis, for the first time in my life, you were right. And I'll take it.
Okay, let's make a bet.
I'm not a betting man anymore.
Let me see that tat on your hand, bro.
I used to be a betting man.
Okay, you see that? Yeah. Here's the bet. If I win, you have to go get that tattoo covered.
I would actually like that. That would make me happy, actually. I've been thinking about it.
With the foreskin.
That would be terrible. That would be so terrible. I can never make that bet. I don't know if I'm that confident. I don't know if I'm that confident.
You're not. I know you're not. Oh my God.
Oh man, my face just deflated so
just
fast.
Like a wrinkled.
And you know what? It could actually be done because like look at it. Like it could be done
towards your mic more. Let me see. Oh, for
like,
sure.
It could be totally done.
That's perfect.
It would like flow very, very easily. Look at that. I got it. Like,
oh my God.
Look, I'm making it worse.
You're way worse. Oh my God. Okay, that's good.
Like,
that's good.
You could totally
do it. They could totally do that.
Man, no one's ever coming back on our podcast because we just talked about
maybe this is members only. This might be members only.
Members only. Members only.
Members only.
Oh man, this was so good. Oh
my God.
Wow. Well, it'll be I can't make that bet. But I really want to so bad. But I got to give you something.
What would I have?
I know. I gotta give you something. Yeah. I don't know because you don't have any tattoos, right?
No.
Man. I don't know. I gotta think about it because that's a really big one. Like, dude, why do you have it?
Nobody would even know what it is.
No, I think people would understand. I think people would.
Know.
I would never ever get married. That's for sure.
It's just the foreskin.
Like just the foreskin.
It's just the foreskin.
Okay.
No tip.
Okay.
Just skin. It's gonna look like a wrinkly donut.
Only you and I will really know what that means.
And our members.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Our 3 members. Oh man. Well, Ben, this was insightful tonight.
I hope everybody learned something.
Yeah. I'm really curious what the outcome will be with who sides with who.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be
down in the comments.
Hey, Ben, listen, don't feel bad. Like when the comment section blows up and it's going to be like Dennis, I side with Dennis. I think that Dennis is.
Well, don't feel bad.
People love you so much.
Yeah,
you do such a great job.
Yeah, great. That's fine. Yeah. So here's the best part. There's no way to prove me wrong.
I think there is. I think that with enough
what, are you
evidence,
exhume the corpse of Moses?
No, I think that we're going to look into the text deeper, and we're going to find out that when he looked upon the people in Israel, it was. I think that there's the word kinsman. Something like that is used, and so that means he knows that he's part of them.
Moses wrote that after he already took the Hebrews out of Egypt. He knows then that they're his kinsmen. It does not mean that he's writing first-person knowledge into that text. Like at that point in time, he knew they were his kinsmen. No way.
That's a really good rebuttal, then. But I can't be okay with it completely.
Who do we need to ask?
But it was a good rebuttal. Yeah, I think we should ask.
Do we have anybody in our Rolodex that both of us would trust? Mondo?
Well, I love Mondo.
I love Mondo, but I feel like we're tapping him too often.
I know. Poor Mondo, but he's so cool. I think also like if there's like a ancient man.
Oh, hold on,
Michael Heiser.
Michael Heiser.
He would answer that so fast.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I still watch his videos, man. He's got some great videos.
He's incredible.
Like, yeah, even he's like incredible. old ones when he was super young. And
his stuff on.
He's like always solid. He was like always solid.
Yeah. His stuff on Polemic is incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah. Bro, hold on. Hey, Doug Woodward.
I thought of him.
Doug Woodward. I think we're supposed to do a round 2. So this has to be a question we ask next time he comes on.
Deal.
Okay.
Nice. Can you write that down? Because I'm definitely going to forget.
No, I'll remember. Every time I see your tattoo, I'll remember.
In the middle of our conversation, we're like, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a question for you. They usually be like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Okay. Hey, tell me what your big news was.